What's going on, YouTube? This is Aaron Trevini here, back down in the beautiful state of Texas, and we have a wonderful guest from Central Texas, from the Austin area. We have Laura Casillas, and I know that we had connected a while back, and looking forward to this show, hearing about her experience as a realtor and an investor. She has a lot of neat things to say about doing deals, her experience, and it's a pleasure to have you today, Laura. How you doing?
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you very much. Doing good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just starting off the week. And I can never complain when the weather is this nice. This morning I got in my truck and I went to work and I just said, man, it was beautiful, just sunny and 70 degrees. So I always enjoy that.
Yeah, it's nice. We need to take advantage because then the heat is gonna come and it's gonna be a little bit too hot.
That's right. April's, at least I guess in different parts of Texas, April's kind of a funny month where it can, be kind of dark and cloudy and rain a lot, or it can be absolutely gorgeous, sunny and 75 degrees. So
Yeah, absolutely. And for
absolutely.
those who doesn't know Texas, I mean that could be one day, just all the weather that you uh, describe.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. No, again, Laura, pleasure to have you on. And for those of us who aren't too familiar, I know I gave a light background on you, but could you talk a bit more about your background and what you do in the real estate business?
Sure, absolutely. My background is like I was a business owner in Mexico for 15 years. And we moved to the States around 2017. And that's where, it was like, okay, reset. What are you going to do? You can do whatever you want. So I started listening to podcasts and reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and Bigger Pockets and all that stuff. And I got hooked. I was like, I need to do my first deal. I need to do my first deal. So back then we were living in New Mexico. So I was like, okay, first step, I need to go to a meetup and get to know people that are doing this. And that's how I started. I jumped into in a meetup. I met this investor, and he was kind enough to teach me how to. It was like we bought the redemption rights. That's what it's called. So in New Mexico, when your house goes to auction, you have the first right to repurchase the property in auction, and you can sell that right. So we were buying those rights, and well, basically, I started learning to calling and fill out contracts and all that stuff. And I was working for free for this investor, so he got the deals, but I got to learn. And I was like, okay, this is cool, but I need to, just tackle something. And we bought a house and we did a living flip. That's that's our first step. And after that, I mean, we sold the property. This was almost, no, not almost. We were in COVID-19 era, so all showings were different. All that stuff was very different. And we sold the property, and that's when we moved to Austin. And with those profits, we were able to start a couple flips. First one, we sold it. Then the next fix and flip, we sold it. And then I heard about house hacking, and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to buy a house and I want a house hack. But I have 3 kids, so I didn't want just strangers in my house, or my husband neither. I mean, he's very protective. So what we did is we purchased a home or house, and we turned the garage into a studio. We did I mean, we were familiar with subcontractors and remodelation and all that stuff. So we basically tackled the project ourselves. Whatever we couldn't do, we hired the subs, the plumber, the electrician. Besides that, we basically finish it up ourselves. But that's the way I'm house hacking right now. So we have that studio on Airbnb. We have it on Furnish Finder, and thank God it's been doing pretty good.
Absolutely. And I love that story. I think out of a lot of things you could say about it, it's a testament of faith and also of courage too. I mean, coming to a country that's, that's very different, a state that, is very different. Maybe the laws are different between New Mexico and coming to a new state like Texas as well. Working for free, which, frankly, a lot of people now they're not willing to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for me, it was like, I mean, this kid was like 20, 25, 24 when I met him. And I'm like, I mean, I'm way older than he. So I was like, oh my God. First of all, probably you have these barriers in your mind, right? You're like, maybe he's not interested, or maybe am I doing the right thing? And all those crazy thoughts come went into my mind. Yeah. But thank God it turned out good.
Sure, and it sounds like it did. I guess you kind of implemented a lot of those lessons that you learned there in New Mexico and brought them over here to Texas as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Sure thing. And I guess, I know you touched on it a bit earlier, if you wouldn't mind, could you kind of describe maybe your first deal? And I'm assuming was your first deal a flip, or how did that go?
Oh, well, the very first one that we did in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, we bought a house to live in flip. And I mean, yeah, we had a lot of faith, and we had a very good real estate agent helping us, because he cared about my goals, or our goals, my husband and mine's. So I think we submitted like, I don't know, 7 offers until we got one accepted. And sometimes I was like, let's submit this offer. And he was like, no, no, hold on. That's not going to make sense. So he was very good. And when we, got under contract, I mean, I can tell you back then it's way different from Mexico. So I didn't know we were under contract. Like, what does that mean? Literally. So it was funny because he sent me the email, hey, you're under contract, this and that, sign these papers, whatever. And then on Monday, I was like, well, what's next? I called him like, why are we waiting? When are they gonna decide if they accepted the offer or not? And he's like, no, no, you are under contract. You have the house. And I'm like, oh my God. So that was like a awakening call, because there's so many details that you can think like everybody knows, but I mean, I didn't know it. And coming from another culture, there were so many things I didn't know when we jumped in. Um, but I mean, just jumping back then to the live-in flip, what we did, we moved in, and we had a problem with the sewer. So that was kind of an issue, because it was like a week that we couldn't use the bathrooms in the house, and we were living there. So it was so stressful. I mean, I have 3 kids, so they were like, mommy, I need to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, no, no, just wait. You're gonna go to school. Hold on. Oh my God. Yeah, but it was fun. Now that you turn back, and you see the steps that you've been able to make, it's I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it.
That's funny in a way. It sounds like it was a bit aggravating and agitating when you were in it, but maybe looking back, I guess now you can kind of laugh about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it was funny because I mean, like, okay, just grab your stuff. We're going to the Walmart, and just go to the restroom. Come on, let's go. So, yeah, but what we did there is we took a FHA loan, which is a low down payment. We moved in, and it was mostly cosmetic. Besides the sewer that someone did, that part of the work, we did some other stuff, some upgrades that we need subs, but all the cosmetic stuff, we did it, my husband and myself. We painted the windows, we put new flooring, we put granite countertops, we changed the appliances, and we repaint everything. And basically that just gave another look to the property, and we were able to sell it with a profit within a year. We had to wait the year. That's what you're supposed to wait, to live in there. And also, if you wait 2 years, you're extend to pay capital gains if you file your taxes jointly, up to $500,000. If it's a single, $250,000. But I mean, I talked to my CPA and he's like, okay, you're not making that much money, so don't worry about it. You're not gonna pay anything with the profit that you made because you live there for a year. So that was good.
Sure, that's a great distinction to make. About that was, you said, the FHA loan, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, very good. No, that's neat. Thank you for sharing that story. And I think it's interesting as well, is you mentioned how you had someone, someone with you, someone that you trusted. You had someone that was a realtor that was knowledgeable about the area. And I know that's, especially in this economy, people are concerned, are there deals? How can I find deals? Maybe my profit margins are narrowing. Can I go direct to the seller? Should I work with a realtor? Could you maybe describe, why work with a realtor as opposed to maybe working direct to seller?
Well, a realtor, first of all, knows the area. I mean, at least a knowledgeable one knows the area, knows how much you can sell, or how's the market, how are the rentals, how long it's going to take. All that knowledge is very important. And also, if it's on the market, what I realized before being a realtor and before getting my license is like, there's so many things that you can negotiate, and there's so many paperworks that it's official that you need to use to negotiate a transaction, that it's worth having one friendly realtor or investor realtor that can help you out, and that it's not going to be afraid to talk to the seller or the other agent, and being like, okay, I run the numbers, my investor is looking for this type of return, or you need to consider these expenses that are normal in an investment property, so you can negotiate a little bit better. So,
Absolutely. And I guess, you mentioned a good word there, and that was expenses, right? So, anytime you're doing some sort of deal, I guess you would have maybe a general contractor check out the house. What are some common expenses that you should be prepared to pay when you're looking to renovate a home?
yeah, well, first of all, if you don't have the full capital to do all the project, you're gonna have a hard money loan probably, or a private lender. So the interest, the holding costs are, if you're using a hard money, it's probably gonna be high. So you better you know know how long it's gonna take you to finish that project, and consider those expenses, those holding costs over there. Also, permitting, if you're gonna pull the permits, you're gonna have to wait for that process to be completed. And also, I mean, there, just don't try to cut expenses to make it a deal and start working. It's better to go a little bit more cautious in the expenses, because sometimes, and it happened to me, I get overexcited and I want to do something, and I just jump in, and then I figure out how to do it. But if you have everything planned before starting, it would be easier and it would be more profitable. And I mean, I recommend that. One of the things that I learn is like, once you decide your layout, or once you decide the things you're gonna do, don't change them, because then money starts flying out of your pocket.
You want to run in one direction. You can't run in three different places, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you also mentioned kind of the capital and the financing part, the hard money, could you maybe speak a bit more about that? Do you prefer using, a local conventional bank, or a hard money loan, or funding it yourself? Or how should someone maybe doing a flip for the first time, how should they go about financing?
Well, for me, it was like, I wanted to do it and I didn't have that much capital, so I was like, I'm gonna find a hard money lender that works with me, with not provable experience here in the States, because in Mexico I did construction, but here I haven't done so. up until that point, I hadn't done anything. So again, meetups. I met this guy in a meetup, and he's a lender here, a local lender here in Austin, hard money lender. And I met him, and he was like, "Okay, I'll lend you the money." Just, I mean, I had to submit all the paperwork, and that's normal. But if you're gonna start, try to, go to meetups and know the people that do the same things that you do. So that's a big thing. But hard money, I mean, it's an option, and if you run the numbers, even though it's a high interest rate, if it's the only way that you can jump into a project and it's going to be profitable, I mean, you have to go for it. If it makes sense, it makes sense. Just go for it. And yeah, and I mean, just, for anyone that it's wondering probably a little bit more about hard money loans, is you need to have a skin in the game. So you need to bring some money in, and basically they're gonna, you know, lend you for almost 80%, 90%. It depends on the hard money lender, but all the project, the cost of the project. So I mean, it's pretty good.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people are very curious, especially with, I guess, what's going on with the economy. Is it a good time to borrow money? Is it a bad time? Should I sit and wait and just stack up as much cash as I can? Or should I continue doing business as normal? What do you make for the rest of 2023, or I guess the near future? What do you think that the flip market or the real estate market will be like?
Oh, the flip market, I think it's a little bit for me is a little bit scary if you don't find your own deals. Meaning, like, wholesalers, I mean, I work with them, and I appreciate what they do, but you need to have a very good one working with you uh, to find a good deal. Because if not, if you're, in the big companies, wholesale companies, you need to run your numbers very good, because margins usually are very thin, and right now you don't count with the market appreciation as fast as it happened the last couple of years. Right now, probably the prices are just right there, not moving. If not, they're going a little bit, dipping a little bit. So be careful with that. And regarding about having money or start working, that's a big question. I'm trying to get as much lines of credit as I can in my business, just to have access to money. If opportunities come, it's better to have access to capital, even though it's expensive, than not doing it. Yeah.
Yep. I guess that goes back to what you were saying earlier, just really, really just getting into the game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I was like paralyzed for a while. Like, what do I do? Should I start a project? Should I just, save the money? But I was, mentally, I got so stressed of just analyzing things and not doing anything, that I'm like, okay, just keep analyzing. And when one deal makes sense, or when one strategy makes sense, just go for it. And that's what I'm doing. I mean, I'm sending offers, a lot of offers. Um, and if someone wants it, then we have a deal. If not, I'm just gonna keep trying to find something.
Sure thing, Laura. And you made an interesting point about, if one strategy works, just going for it and going all in there. When you're underwriting your deal, or really just evaluating, is this deal worth my time? Do you go in with one exit strategy, or do you want to go in with multiple exit strategies, or how does that work for y'all?
I'm analyzing right now. I like add value, so I look into properties that are a little bit distressed. Probably not that much, probably just a cosmetic thing, but just to keep it as a rental. But it needs to make sense for me as a long-term rental, even though in my mind I'm thinking I'm gonna do it a mid-term rental or short-term rental. So I analyze them as a long-term, and I make the offers based on those numbers.
Okay, that's an interesting point as well. I know we talked a bit, about the economy and using private hard money. and really just jumping in and doing, doing those deals. And I guess a lot of people are really concerned, again, about the economy and, hey, maybe it's not worth for me just to straight up flip the house. I should maybe do short, mid, or long-term rental. Which one's best? I mean, I guess for someone looking at it for the first time, it can be overwhelming. Wow, I have three different options, short, mid, or long-term. Well, what do you think is the better option in this economy?
For me, it would be like the midterm. Nurses are needed everywhere. I mean, and that won't stop. You have that that's your customer. So I like that. That's why I like the midterm, because it's focused on that on the healthcare area. And I mean, probably that's the best return that you can have in a regular property without having to, if you have it on Airbnb, it's a short-term rental, you need to find a market that has some attractions, or either water, either like Austin has a lot of concerts, a lot of movement. That's a good city. But the numbers has to make sense. So for me right now, I'm looking into a small town, like 40 minutes from Austin, but it has like big hospitals. So they have a lot of travel nurses, and that's what I want. That's what all my efforts are right now. Yeah.
Sure. And that makes a lot of sense. Like you said, that stability, right? Whether the economy is good, bad, up or down, we're always going to need, good professionals in healthcare.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good market to tap.
Absolutely, Lauda. What's next for you? Maybe someone's listening. They're in another part of Texas, maybe another part of the country, maybe they're in Mexico, wherever they may be. What's next for you? How can our audience connect with you?
Thank you. Well, more than happy to connect with anyone, and if they speak Spanish, well, I'm here to help. Absolutely. What's next? New construction. That's what I want to jump in, and I'm just networking and understanding a lot of things and trying to make my decisions, with knowledge. So that's why I'm asking a lot of questions to developers, to lenders, to other investors that are doing this, to general contractors, just to have all the picture, and then I can jump in and start doing that.
Okay, no, and I mean you already do have quite a bit of experience, like you said, having that background coming from Mexico and doing a lot of that sort of work over there, right?
Yeah, yeah, we did new building in Mexico, and we did have a company, Windows company. We used to build windows, so it's just like it's just management. You need to manage people, money, and time. So as long as you're efficient with those three, things are gonna come up well.
That's right. And one thing I was curious about as well, I know earlier in the show you talked a bit about, the words under contract, right? And your realtor kind of explaining it to you and the process is being a bit different. Obviously, you're a native Spanish speaker. Could you explain maybe some of the I guess maybe some of the differences or maybe struggles that, Mexican investors coming to the US could have, or maybe differences in the way that real estate operates in Mexico versus the way it operates here in the US?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, for me, it's way different because here you have a lot of options in lending options, which you don't have in Mexico. In Mexico, I mean, the 30-year mortgage, I don't know how long it's been here in the States, but in Mexico, it's not that far. I mean, I didn't grow up with those kind of loans over there. And in Mexico, the good rate that you can get right now, it's probably around 9.5%. So it's not, I mean, and that's it. So here, what I talk or what I try to tell the people or investors from Mexico or any other country is that you can buy a house with a DSCR loan, which is, it's based on the asset and what's going to produce. So they don't even need to have, like a lot of paperwork or like a lot of history here, they can buy it with a loan that it's tied to the property, not to themselves. So that opens our mind like a lot. And regarding the contract, I mean, it's always good to have someone guiding you if it's the first time, or if you've never done it, because it's different. And times in the contracts here in real estate, as you know, Aaron, there are timelines that you can't, cross. If not, you're out of the contract, or you breach the contract, or so you get into trouble. So yeah, it's good to have someone to help guide you in the all the process.
Absolutely. No, and I was just curious about that as well, just given that, we do have investors coming from Mexico to Texas, and I always find a lot of those differences to be so interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And I mean, it's a great place to invest. Texas is growing like crazy. And also I know for for people from Mexico, or Latin America, it's interesting because you invest here in the dollar, so you have that like safety. I mean, I don't know other people, but we live that depreciation of the peso, the valuation. So man, that was like you lost value like a lot. So it's a way to protect the money.
Right. I think that was what, in the mid 1990s in Mexico. I
Yeah,
think
that's
peso was cut in
1994.
half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
1994, 1995.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I just read that. I didn't experience it myself. I just read about it in a book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was. I mean, it was crazy. Like, okay, now just remove three zeros from the the bills, the coins. That so it was
Wow.
interesting.
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess more reason to invest in Texas, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's a great place to invest. Appreciation is good. Right now we're in a like funny adjust year, but it's worth it. I mean, there's still deals, there's still people that needs to sell, so we can find them.
Sure. And I guess off that, do you think there's going to be a lot of refinances in the future? Do you think people are going to sit and wait, or maybe the DSCR loans, or, I guess in terms of available deals to people this summer and for the rest of the year, what do you think?
Oh man, that's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah.
For what I see is like, I mean, we are trapped in our houses because we have a low interest rate. You don't want to get rid of that. So either you become a landlord if you need to move, or maybe you can do a seller finance and get a little bit more every month with the difference of interest rate that you can offer your buyer. Uh, I don't know I'm not sure. I mean, I think single family is stable. I mean, people don't want to sell, and I understand that. People have equity, a lot of equity in their property, so there's no need to, discount their property. So I don't know. I don't know. I think commercial real estate is a little bit more in trouble for what I've heard.
Really commercial as opposed to residential?
Yeah, because they have when they underwrite their properties, well, some syndicators, they did it with a 3.5% interest rate. And who were gonna think that 1 year later we're twice as high, right? So but they have like a bridge loans, or it's gonna mature the loan, and they need to refinance or sell. And the problem is that you can't sell a property that cash flows at 3.5% interest rate, but at 7 it's not gonna cash flow. So who's gonna be able to buy that asset? So that's gonna be tough.
That's a very interesting point to make between residential and commercial, and I guess we'll see, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm very curious, like to hear and read, and let's see what's gonna happen. I think, I don't know, they'll find a solution.
That's right. That's right, Laura. I know I'd asked earlier, what was next for you. I know you said a lot of new construction, your background's in it. You've obviously done quite a few flips, looking to do new construction in the future. Is there anything you haven't said that you'd really just like to tell our audience?
I mean, if someone's starting to invest, just, try to focus on one thing and just do one thing, and then you open yourself again to other things, because if not, it's very frustrating to try to do a lot of things and not accomplish any of those. That's number one. Number two, just be true to yourself. Like, what do you want to do, or why do you like it? Because I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do in real estate, but and all of those make money. The thing is, like, what does align with what you want? Your time, your your resources, what do you enjoy doing and what you don't enjoy doing.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's a great point to make as well. Not only, making sure the numbers make sense and all those different things, but also really just having an honest conversation with yourself and recognizing what you want and going in that direction, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, I've been there. It's not like I mean, I'm like, I try to do one thing, the next, the next, the next, and then you're just like, I'm doing all these things and I'm not efficient at one. So I need to just focus on one. And it's good to know and learn from, different stuff, but just when you're applying your time in something, just pick one or two things and just focus on that.
All right. No, that's I think that's a great way to end the show. Lauda, it's been a pleasure. We've talked quite a bit about your background, maybe differences between Mexico and the US when doing real estate deals, your first real estate deal, a bit of advice regarding flips and the market and what's to come. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in the future. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you, Aaron. No, thank you for the content that you put out there, and thanks for inviting me.
Of course. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely.